occupation line claimed by the abutter. And I didn't draw it, but you'll see area of encroachment, that dotted area.
Yep.
You'll notice that line that runs from North Lubec Road down to the shore.
Yep.
That is the occupation line, their word, and it means exactly what it says. All right? Occupation has a specific legal meaning. They have said here he is occupying somebody else's land by claim only. There's been no, and I've asked, but I've not yet to receive any survey, any deed, any documentation that justifies him erecting a fence down that line and occupying the town land. Okay?
So the fence is on town land?
Yes. He put it up this summer before he left. So that's the one, you know, like biggie, big issue. And I'll explain why he's doing that, I think. I can't exactly explain why, but I think I know. There may be some reason why, but that's immaterial. The fact of the matter is, he's occupying town land.
Yep.
Right? And he's put a structure on it, a fence, claiming it as his. Plus, there's a solid rod painted orange found. You'll see that black dot?
Yes.
That solid orange rod, 3/4 inch rod found means, nobody knows what it means.
Solid painted orange rod.
Yeah, it carries no legal definition. It's not in
It doesn't
any
fit in
deed.
with anything, not even the edge of the,
No.
There's just place
It
there.
just happens to fit in with this line of
Line.
occupation.
Yeah.
But it's a 3/4 inch metal rod painted orange, which it doesn't mean anything. Okay, in terms of this survey, it carries no, you know, it's like it just showed up there, fell out and stuff. You'll notice the trailer, the pin, the survey pin. You see the record line? The survey pin sits underneath the trailer.
you have physically verified that this
Yeah, I've
pin
been
is
told
there
that.
and it's under the trailer.
Oh, see, he hasn't physically verified it.
They
It's
crawled
about,
under his trailer and looked at it?
no, I didn't.
No, they did.
They did,
CES
yes, they did. Yeah,
I'd want to catch them under my trailer.
Well, if they're following a
If
boundary
they're
line.
looking for a survey pin, they might have to
They're
go
following
there.
a boundary line.
it's a pin, he's got his,
Yeah.
you know,
I wouldn't want to think someone crawled under my trailer when I wasn't there.
no, it's right at the edge there, the road.
Well, in the commission of a survey, don't the surveyors have the legal
Legal.
ability to?
Look, they found the pin right there. Right.
Okay, well, moving along.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go
They
ahead.
didn't crawl all the way under the trailer, right at the,
Go ahead. Go ahead. Move on.
You hit a nerve.
Move on. Move
I hit a
on.
nerve with Joanne.
Move
although,
on.
I've been told that the pin occasionally gets covered up and then uncovered and then covered up and uncovered, all right? You know, so,
To get onto this,
Get
how
onto
big
this.
is this area? How wide is this?
It says right here,
Is this 59 feet?
58 point,
53.8 feet, I
yeah,
think.
Is that how long it
53.8
is,
feet.
this area is?
Yeah.
And then it's 59 feet this way?
It's
58.
84 feet up there. 284.
It's got 27 and then it's got 38.
Well, anyway.
I'm just wondering how big this piece is.
Well, if you take those.
84
That's
by
about it.
53 by 30, 27 and
This one
38.
is 84 feet, the long line. This one here, tells you right here, it's 53.8 feet this way. And then it's this figure and this figure together would be from the
Yeah, but
road
what
to the shore.
I'm trying to figure is what portion of an acre is this? Is it
Yeah.
like an eighth of an acre?
The whole lot is only this is only 0.2 acres.
All right, so what is this
So-
portion of an acre, do we know?
I would have to,
Like 1/16th?
I don't, I'll have to figure it out. I'll have to figure it
Where are you going with this, Joanne?
I'm just saying, you know what? My opinion is if it's 1/16th or 1/23rd or whatever it is, it's in question. The town owns it, we own it. Give it to him.
out. Well, let's go through this a little bit.
I don't know,
I don't know that we can do that, but
Why
that's up
can't
to
we?
you.
Because it's part of an estate.
But anyway,
But and also, isn't he in the right of way?
well, there's a few things here. Okay, the line is one thing,
Yeah.
all right?
Okay.
Now, there's also a Mr. Tweedy who owned this property way back,
Ralph Tweedy.
put a septic tank in,
Yeah.
all right? Just a tank, a holding tank.
Hold it.
Yeah.
In the this lot is in the shoreline zone. He put this in a long time ago, apparently.
Okay. Yeah.
And he was told by Willie,
Mm-hmm.
way back then,
Yeah.
in a letter, that this was a seasonal lot, not suitable for
Permanent.
anything other than seasonal use. It had a holding tank, and that's what was there,
Uh-huh.
all right? And it could not be built on. It was an unbuildable lot.
Okay.
Okay, its use had fallen away, it hadn't been built on, there was no permanent structure there. And
Didn't it have some at one point
But
in time?
here's the thing. I looked at the record, and I have yet to find any record. I found a record after the fact by the new owner of an attempt to get an HHE 200 for the tank only, non-engineered tank, because Mr. Tweedy apparently had this put in without any record, without any application, without any permit. It just showed up there, right?
Right.
And then later, when the current owner bought it from Mr. Tweedy, there's 2 records in the file of attempts to get permits, and these are it. They're for the same thing. Neither one, there are 2 different permits, each $50 from some guy named Stark, or who was the plumbing inspector? Huh? Well, that doesn't say Sutherland. Does it? I don't even know who this is.
Your uncle?
In any event, there's no site evaluator signatures on these. There's no owner's or applicant signatures. There's no local plumbing inspector's signature. There's no date approved. There's no nothing, except a stamp that says the $50 was spent. And there's 2 of them. The only boxes checked on this one is treatment tank, concrete regular, over there on the left. And then over on the right it says non-engineered treatment tank only. So this had to have been, and this happened in 2003. But this was the permit for Mr. Tweedy putting the tank in 1992.
Boy, there's a delay on getting it to the
Yeah,
office.
it only took 10 years to get this, but it's not signed, so it's not legal. There's nothing to this,
Right.
right? It's not worth the paper it's written on. Here's a letter from Willie to
Wow.
Mr. Tweedy back in October 29th of 1992. So this is for tank only. The tank was already in. Okay, this is a post facto attempt to get something approved, but it was never signed, and so as a result, Mr. Rahili was out there one day with his dump truck.
Ooh.
And I don't know if if the dump truck wheel went into the tank or went into the septic system that
Bullseye.
was installed later,
Yeah. That's
right? So Mr. Rahili was in the right of way of the town road when this happened.
So the tank's in the right of way.
Yes, that's the other
better.
issue. So that's the 3 biggies.
Holy.
The tank and the septic that was subsequently installed, and I'll get to that, because later a septic was added. Right? Illegally, I might add.
Well,
Because there
you
is
know
no
what I'm gonna
HHE
ask about.
permit. I've done the research, there is no legal HHE permit for that septic that's installed. And whether it's a 2-rod road or a 3-rod road, the septic and the tank are in the right of way.
And it's in shoreline.
And it's in the shoreline
And that's a
zone.
clam flap.
And this septic permit, the new one, the HHE 200, what he had applied and required, I think somebody told me this guy was the LPI over at Stephen Howell over in Eastport. I don't know who, but I can't, his number doesn't work anymore. But if you look on the back of this is in the shoreline zone. The slope of this lot requires a variance for the slope and for the septic from the DEP, right?
Yeah.
Because of obvious reasons.
Yeah. Yeah, so
And, the replacement system variance request was never completed, was never done, right?
Right.
This whole installation over there is illegal,
Right.
period. Not grandfatherable, it's not a buildable lot. So, that's, any questions?
Yes, I have a question. Oh, go ahead, Sarah, ladies first.
Which issue are we here to deal with? Because,
Be all of it.
All of it. Get the
in my-
trailer off the town land. If we're gonna-
can I
and if-
finish, please?
Sure.
I've listened to this, for your information,
Okay,
and I see some issues.
like what?
One, I do not think it's right for anybody to take over anybody's land. Let me say that first.
Okay.
This trailer, how long has it been there? Why are
Since
these issues
2003.
just coming up now?
Because he purchased the property in 2002.
So why didn't we deal with that in
He
2002
wants
when it
to
was
sell
on
it,
our
it's not
property?
legal.
I wanted to be, I wasn't here, so I don't know, I can't respond to that.
And this is my first hearing of issues. Personally, driving
Yeah.
by, I would see it and think, that doesn't seem right.
True.
But now we have 12 issues here,
Mm-hmm.
and things should have been dealt with years ago.
Well,
I agree.
it should have, yes, but it wasn't.
Now it's up to us.
The only thing I can see is it was done on the sly side from what the paperwork shows and indicates. And now if somebody wants to sell that property center, it's gotta be up to code for somebody to purchase it so that they don't get stuck with a whole
That
bunch.
property's been for sale for years.
Well, somebody must be interested in buying it.
I've had inquiries from folks about it, and I've been very uncomfortable even talking about it with realtors and with attorneys, all right? And it's an area that needs to be cleared up. Either we agree to do a boundary survey with with the owner of this property, and so that he can get his, you know, it's the town's land, it's people's land. The people of Lubec own the land. So it would take a town meeting where the people would vote to give this land away.
I would say move the trail, so, down there.
Okay.
That's fine.
That's one option.
All right. The other is to get the septic out of the, and maybe this is the land he needs to put a septic in, out of the right of way.
But that's, all this has been done.
And then maybe he could then move the trailer and he can market this land, and it can become revenue generating, at higher levels for the town.
This,
I mean,
Well,
this isn't,
I'm just telling you what the legal issues are here.
yeah.
We have liability here. Somebody buys that land,
right, I see that, yeah.
and plus, this trailer, I wouldn't want to be sitting there having dinner when the big logging truck rolls by, or the tire.
Well, not only that, Jim, but you said the pin was under the trailer, right into the corner of the trail. When somebody moves something in on a piece of land or property and you say, hey, look at that steel stake, it probably ought to be brought in and say, is that a boundary line somewhere here?
He knows it's there.
Most certainly, most certainly. I would say that the safest thing for us to do as a town would be to have him put that in reverse and get it off our land.
I'm just giving you the facts. I'm
Right.
not making a decision.
Oh, no, but I
Okay,
think you've done a great job on explaining it.
Because no one has ever brought all these facts together.
Mm.
And if if the owner would come forth, and I've told him, please get a survey. If all of these permits were predicated on a drawing that he provided, a sketch. And this sketch that he provided shows this line here,
Mhm.
but it's a sketch of his own making.
Mhm.
It's not a survey. It's a sketch.
He didn't have a survey done.
And this permit says repeatedly, based on the assumption that owner supplied information in sheet 1, this sketch, and my letter of 1/21/2002 is accurate. Now, I can't find the plumbing inspector's letter, but I got a feeling it kind of like echoes the former statement. And this statement of based on the assumption that, it's replete and it's throughout. Based on attached plan labeled sheet 1, all this drawing and the trailer and everything, all of it, basic, just, so he was covering CYA, and, So I would just like to not have to talk about this anymore with anybody.
But anyway, yeah.
See,
What?
that's because,
I have a question. Is the septic system that's in place now, and I realize that it's not used very much, because I don't think anybody lives there.
I don't believe it's
It's
operational.
not a home residence, nobody lives there, right? I mean, I've never seen any vehicles there. But my point is that septic system okay? I don't know what it is, and you don't know what it is, but I know there's a clam flat right there. So should we be at least requesting him move off our property and prove that the septic system is not leaching whatever down onto the clam flat? A dye test? I mean, can we ask for a dye test to see if the system even works?
I think you need to talk to the plumbing inspector and get him to inspect it.
I think you said earlier it was just a holding tank.
No,
That's a cesspool.
No, he
It's
went
not a
ahead,
septic
based
system.
upon this
Hang on.
HHE 200, which was never signed, sealed, and delivered,
That ain't worth.
he built the septic system. But there's no signatures on it. There's no stamp to the state. His name, there's nothing here. But
Sarah,
as far as I know, it was built.
I believe we have a family member here
Yeah.
that
right,
think
and I'm
we
going to
should-
get to him.
have.
So anyway, that's, you know, if there's information to the contrary, I'm all eyes and ears, but
You know you're
this has been going on way too long.
Okay,
Kevin.
Mr. Small, did you want to address the board?
Yes, I would like to, please. My name is Kevin Small, I'm Doug's oldest son. He was up here this summer and he tried to sell the land there, and he ran into a whole bunch of different things. First of all, I have there's a letter here from the Department of Health and Human Services. It's to the Planning Board of Lubec. And basically it says, the key word here is that the system and its layout and use complies with the subsurface wastewater or plumbing code provisions prevailing when the system was first put into use. And the structure is not used in a way that results in a wastewater design flow of greater volume, and the system is not malfunctioning or has not malfunctioned. On that basis, and solely upon the rules, and the new information provided to this office concludes that the existing system is grandfathered for use for a single family dwelling unit.
I don't have a copy of that, but can I see that?
Yes, you should. You surely can.
Again, that doesn't address the septic being in the right of way, nor does it address the trailer being on town property.
And I'd like to show you another thing here, if I can. This, where the trailer is sitting right now, this house used to sit in that same spot.
Right. What year was this? You know?
That I don't know. Dad would know, because he was born and raised in North Lubec.
Is that land eroded, you think, any Kevin through the
I don't think so, because they, no. And right behind that, the smoke shed sat there.
Well, that's definitely, I mean, it's
And-
eroded a lot down
and-
behind it.
Well, the road, there's a road that goes down to where that smoke shed
Mhm.
sat down.
Well, again, it still doesn't address the issue of the trailer being on the town property, and it doesn't address the, Jim, do you want copies of these? as
Sure,
well?
yeah. More information, the better.
And
The septic system being in the right of way.
the one thing, I'm back there, so I couldn't,
There you
there's, where was he talking about that the fence is here?
go. Here,
Right here.
yeah.
Yeah.
Down here where this pin is, if you dig down under this pin, is the original pin that was for the property.
Where did the orange pin come
He
from?
put that in there.
Okay.
Because
What's the
he
pin
felt,
under the trailer? What does that
I have
denote?
no idea. That was something I think that CES put there.
I think the bottom line to this is going to be that somebody, you need to have a survey done.
CES.
He needs to have a survey done.
Yep.
Well, he.
But you've
he
still
is-
got the issue of the septic being, and that's
Right.
probably would have to be moved, you know, to
Okay,
be out of the
yep.
right of way.
But my whole point is, I just wanted to point out that there has been existing, there was an existing house here. The pylons that the house sat on are right behind the
I
house. They were
understand.
burned up. I didn't know if you'd
Right.
ever been there, I'm sorry.
No,
But,
but what I'm saying is that over time, you know, the regulations for shoreline property have changed and the setbacks have changed.
oh, I'm sure.
You know, when that house was there, it
Right.
was a whole different era
But see, like right
than
down the,
now.
you know, down the road here, when you come by the big stores that used to be,
Uh-huh,
if that's a 3-rod road,
right,
that's halfway into that building.
right.
See what I'm saying?
That is if the road is in the center of the 3-rod swath.
That's the
Right.
point.
Yeah, that's what I'm
They
saying.
shift a little.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
That building sits almost right in the,
So then that may be at the extent of the right of way on that side, the road is closed, but there's ample room on the other side.
Can we speak one at a time, please?
I would suggest, Mr. Small, that we table it at this time and that you come in and meet with Jim and you folks discuss all of these situations.
okay?
And maybe, Jim, you could, get some advice on the issue of the septic, from the state.
Yeah.
And we could get some advice, you know.
Did I get those pictures back?
Jim made copies.
Jim, did you make any
I'll
copies?
get copies of them.
We
Oh,
don't,
one other thing was having the trailer that you got on property, right? Because it's town's property, it's our property.
that's correct. But I think at this point, I don't think we should make a decision tonight. I think
Okay.
that, you should get together with Jim and all the factors, and then we'll all come back again and meet.
I just wanna, if I can, I just wanna point out one thing. Where I told you there's a pin below the pin, they filled that, there was a drain area there. And that, they filled that area and put a culvert in there.
They-
Years, my father and whoever, this was years ago. They filled the area, and so not to lose that pin, he set a pin on top of it. So the original one is below that, and when you get down on the shore, there's a big cedar tree with another original pin right on the ledge of where the property line is, right there.
Well,
I think it's gonna come down to, you're gonna have to have a survey done.
yeah, you need to get a survey done, because that's, unless there's another survey to the contrary, that one is
The survey.
legally guided. You know,
My,
I've told Doug this repeatedly, he should get a survey, because that is a survey, it's legally recorded, and those pins are legal placements, and if there's a reputation of that, it has to be done by somebody that has the skill and has the license to do that. Otherwise, that's legal. That, if you go to court, that wins.
Yeah.
I didn't,
Right
if
now.
I may speak one more time, I asked my dad about this, about if this was on file at the Registry of Deeds, and he said that this had never been filed, this survey.
I believe it is on file. Is that what you said, Jim?
Jim,
This is on
That
file?
is registered,
Yes.
It is?
yes.
Could you give me the,
Can he have this copy?
He can have that.
Hello.
thank you.
Yes, sir.
Oops.
And what is the reference to it?
Do you have the reference number, Jim?
It's right in
right
the
under
corner.
inhabitants,
Okay.
Okay,
Here.
right
I
down
got
the
it,
bottom
I got it.
corner, inhabitants.
Yep.
okay. And this is on file at the Registry of Deeds and
Well,
Tax.
you're the one I have. You have the one that has record on it.
Okay, well,
Thank you very much.
Thank
There,
you.
Thank you.
Here. CES, found a survey plan, and there it is, plan 19, cat 3, Burr, This is, you know.
Can I have this?
Yes, you can have
Did you-
it.
Do you
So-
have a copy of that, Jim?
Yeah, I can make another, it's not a problem.
That information?
Yeah, it's,
Yeah, I can get another one, I'll make that.
214-6057.
Yeah, why don't you call me, come see me, we'll sit down, and,
Yeah,
I wanna talk about this.
Yeah.
I'm curious about this because, I guess my question is when
Okay,
this.
can we,
Yeah.
we'll table for now.
Yeah, and we recognize that the septic tank
Could I
is
make one
grandfathered.
comment?
That's not a problem.
Okay.
The only problem is it's in it right away.
Worked in the town office when that other septic system was put in, the one that the town owns under the town property.
Okay,
And if any boundaries are moved or anything like that, should make sure that nothing happens to upset that septic system that is servicing those houses across the street.
so you're saying there's another separate septic system
Yes.
in that property that belongs to the town?
Yes.
No, it has nothing to do with
It
this.
well, the only thing is, the comment was made to give them a piece of land or something to straighten it out, but you
Can't.
well, make sure you don't give
No, we
away your
understand.
septic system.
Well, I
No, the town septic system.
understand.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Somewhere there would have to be an easement signed for that to be there legally, first of
Yes.
all. But having said that, this is a state statute, and you can call MMA and check this out.
Yes.
If you have septic running out on the ground, the Board of Selectmen have the authority to have the LPI check it. The Board of Selectmen give a notice of violation, order of corrective action with a 24-hour notice. If it isn't cleaned up or something within 24 hours, you can put somebody in there and lien the property. Now, that's a state statute, so that much you can enforce.
And this hasn't really been an issue in that particular
Well, he's talking
property
about his clam flats.
because there, Mike and his
Very
plan.
helpful.
There's no one in the trailer and there hasn't been anyone in the trailer, so there's been no violation.
No, but in order for that to be there, but I did see,
Right.
he had a 200 with what looked like a sticker on it, one of the yellow ones.
Right, but it's not a complete,
Is it I'm curious if that's an LPI sticker.
I don't think so. It's never, was never completed.
No, I saw it from here.
And I'd like to say one last comment here about, you know, the house before and then the trailer later in '79. Look, Gerald Wilcox put in that tank around in the 60s, the tank. That was during the period of time. Prior to that, they had folks living up there, I guess, working in the canning industry and all that, and those little shanties up there. That was all overboard discharge.
That's right.
This letter does not grandfather overboard discharge. It's grandfathering the tank, which is still in there today.
Right.
But it's not grandfathering in any subsequent septic system that was installed.
Right.
Right? Necessarily. So, that's, you know,
Okay, so you and Mr. Small are gonna get together
yeah, but we'll
and
discuss it.
we'll discuss this at a later date.
Yeah, and I would like to see us, my recommendation is the town try to work this out so that that property, the last thing we need is another piece of property.
Right.
The town. That property be productive and have some utility, right? And let that be done such that, my biggest concern is the safety of somebody habitating, living on that property.
Right.
That close to the road,
Oh.
pure and simple. That's really, you know.
Follow traffic,
That
Okay.
sounds like you need an ordinance.
Thank you.
No.
Just don't live in the right of way of the road.
You already have one.
Right,
Yeah.
and we are going to go on to the next
All right.
item
Thank
on the
you.
agenda. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
Very much. John?
The next item is the winter parking ban. Every year around this time, we've been enacting a winter parking ban. Basically, it states, notice, winter parking ban is in effect for snow removal and snow plowing for all streets in Lubec from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. from November 15th to April 15th, 2014.
Same dates every year. I make a motion, we accept the winter parking ban. I put it into effect on the dates stated.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? All right. John?
Next item, our animal control officer, Gary Brown, he went to a training recently, and he come back and we talked, in years past, we've contracted with the sheriff's department for our animal control services. Now we have an animal control officer, who reports directly to the municipality. We're starting this from scratch. Some of the items here that Gary is looking at is a badge and a holster. Now I know when talking with Gary as a harbor master and as a claim warden, he needs the badge to identify himself to issue a summons. The other item that he is requesting is a catch-all pole. In talking with him, basically this pole is that if he had a dog that was unfriendly, he could take the noose wrapped around the neck and use the pole to keep it away from himself for his own protection.
Yep, very successful too.
Next item is a Midwest Solution Series side-by-side double-door SUV dog crate. Should he have to take an animal to the kennel, he would need a some kind of device that would hold it, secure it, and really keep it out of the cab from him if it was unfriendly. Next item he has some stuff from Cabin Fever. Some of the stuff would be attire that he would wear identifying him as the animal control officer.
A what?
T-shirt,
Tie.
attire, attire.
Animal could get a hold.
Attire.
Clothing.
It includes
Better not
T-shirts,
be hearing it.
Oh, thank you.
sweatshirt, a cap, beanie, and what this would be is this would be a cap that would cover his ears in the wintertime, and a cotton poly super weight fleece. I'm assuming this is a sweatshirt, or a jacket. Next item he has is a what's called a pole net. Basically, this would be for smaller animals, you know, something like a cat, maybe a raccoon, or something that he could put down over the animal to control it. Next item is a tomahawk grasper. This would be like if he had to go under a building, if he had to stick that underneath to try to grab it rather than reaching it with his hand. And then the last item is a set of Kevlar gloved sleeves. This would be protection for his hands, his lower arms, in case he ends up with an animal that's not very friendly. The total number of all of the items that he presented was $778.40. I looked over in the budget, and right now we have about $2,656.02 in the animal control budget remaining. And this would include salary, this would include anything that would be needed. So I would like to ask the board if they would allow me to move forward in trying to identify the tools that he's gonna need and purchase them.
I make a motion that we direct John to order the necessary equipment for the protection of our animal control officer and the protection of the animals that he is handling.
Have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Were these items mentioned in the training, or is this just speculated things that he thinks he will need?
No, these are things mentioned in training. If you're gonna handle animals, you have to have some tools.
Yeah.
You may come against an unfriendly animal, you may come against a rabid animal. You do have to have some things to protect yourself and to protect the animal.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if you're coming across an animal that, you know, may think you're invading his space, I mean, you've got two choices. You either have the tools to take control of the animal, where you can take him to a kennel, or, you know, he'd have to make the decision to, you put him down, right there. And this, I think, protects him, and I think it would protect the animal that he would be.
I agree.
Question from Mike.
One quick question.
having been down the road myself, does our animal control officer also have rabies shots? Has he been given the series?
No.
Also after the fact, isn't it?
Yes,
Don't they
it
do
is.
that, they don't do it as preparatory, they do it if you get
No,
bit.
but you can get inoculated against rabies ahead of time.
Yeah,
I don't know
It's
that.
easier before.
I know a lot of trappers that do, that are getting.
It's much easier before, those shots are not
Right.
fun afterwards.
No,
Right,
it's not.
and that is
We'll look into that too then.
that's a,
I don't have any problem with the safety things, the poles and the cages and all that, but we need to buy him clothes. He's gonna have a badge.
He has to have a badge in order
The
to
badge
give
will
a
say, I'm
citation.
not, but we don't need to buy him clothes, t-shirts and jackets and a hat. And
Well, if he's on somebody else's property, in search of an animal, I mean, how do you identify
Your
him as?
badge.
Well,
Well, what, is the police jacket gonna say animal control on it? Is that the point of it?
Everything,
Oh.
everything would be animal control officer.
So it'd
I
be,
mean,
it'd be identifiable from the
ID,
distance.
right.
Yeah.
an ID,
I
instant
mean,
ID.
he's not somebody who's trespassing, he's somebody who is,
it isn't a job that I'd want, and I'd want people to
Right.
know who I was.
And fortunately, he's a pretty good sized guy, so whoever comes into position after him, the clothes will fit.
Is there any other discussion by the board? I'm gonna ask for a vote. All in favor? Okay. Cell phone coverage.
yeah,
Where's Renee?
right here.
You don't look like Renee.
We had conversations, and they've been ongoing with US Cellular. We've talked with them in the past, and basically what they've told us was we would probably see cell phone towers in Lubec before snow flies. And basically with the information we've been given, that probably will not happen.
Yeah, I think snow will take care of it.
This is a note that Renee gave me. Due to the conflict process on the Whiting Tower, the Lubec towers have been delayed probably until the spring of 2014.
Oh,
The Whiting Tower was supposed to be up and operational by the end of September 2013. Subsequently, the project went to the appeals process, which in turn caused a delay in construction. On October 28, 2013, the Whiting Planning Board issued a new building permit to US Cellular Black Diamond. Now there is a 45-day waiting period before construction can resume, which will put the project in probably freezing temperatures. Once that occurs, the project will be delayed until spring of 14. The last update I have for the Lubec Tower is that it is at the lease process in Chicago. It's looking like construction for this tower won't begin until the spring of 2014. The second tower location and necessity is yet to be determined and ongoing. Since the tower was financed for 2013, the tower needed to go up. It was decided that Eastport's tower would be bumped up to 2013, which did and went online Wednesday, October 30th, 2013. As a result, downtown Lubec, North Lubec, and as far as Crow's Neck Corner have self-service. I've attached an email correspondence from Pam Chambers, Black Diamond representative. And what that states is, there really is not much to update because nothing has changed since we last spoke. I mentioned the second Lubec Tower, which is in the area that we all discussed, which radio frequency has the coordinates that I sent in and copied you. This is the one on Route 189. Radio frequency has not made any determinations to those coordinations, and like I said, they may be waiting to see how the Eastport site works before committing. The South Lubec, aka First Lubec site, has not progressed any further either. That site was approved by US Cellular Corporation's radio frequency engineer, and I negotiated the lease with the property owner. The lease is at US Cellular Communications Corporation for approval and will be released for execution after their review. Since there will be no more builds for this year, I know everything will slow until spring. Updates cannot be done because changes are made by radio frequency on a regular basis. As soon as I hear anything on the coordinates that I have turned in for the second Lubec site, I will let everybody know what the results are. Regards, Pam. That's Pam Chambers from US Cellular. Like that.
Very good.
So that's pretty much where the cell phone towers are for Lubec right now.
DOT project on South Lubec Road.
Okay. The DOT project on South Lubec Road, there are two projects scheduled for South Lubec Road. First one I want to talk about is at the S-curves. This is a note from Sean Davis, he's the project manager. The lines painted on the road are likely to delineate underground utilities we found to be present in this location during design. Presently, the design is being evaluated by U.S. Fish and Wildlife and Army Corps of Engineers for concurrences with Section 7 of the Endangered Species Act as it relates to Atlantic salmon and short-nosed sturgeon. This process has been slightly delayed by a recent federal government shutdown, but I remain optimistic that we will receive concurrence in the coming weeks. From there, we are prepared to advertise the project and award the contract to a low bidder. I hope the project will be under construction in December, January, and shouldn't take much longer than a week to construct. The schedule is dependent on the timing of the permits, but there is no paving necessary, nor a great deal of excavation that would be hindered by frozen ground. Winter construction of this project should not be problematic. If there's any more information that you require, please feel to contact either Mr. Labarge or me directly. Thank you, Sean Davis. And this is for the S-curve. So this is something that appears to be ongoing. It's something that we will probably see happening quite quickly. And, you know, if people are interested in bidding on this contract, the DOT website does have a place where bids are going out, and they should be looking at that. Now this second one, this project here, about a year ago, we had a project done on the causeway on West Quaddy. This is after the Blue Cove Road. It's on that straightway where the road was starting to wash away. The Maine Department of Transportation is planning to design and advertise the subject project in the winter-spring of 13-14 with the construction scheduled for fall-winter of 2014. The project is described as slope stabilization located in South Lubec Road. After the new pavement is in place, no permit to open this segway of highway will be granted for a period of 3 years as provided in Title 23 MRSA 3352. The purpose of this letter is to make a necessary notifications of the project to abutters, municipal officials, and occupants of the highway under the provisions 23 MRSA 3351. We hereby request that you provide a copy of this notice to all municipal officials, employees, and boards with responsibility for utility and/or land use planning, permitting, and that you post this letter on any municipal public bulletin boards, media outlets, and on municipal websites. Lubec Gov Office too. If you plan to have, or have knowledge of underground utility facilities within the limits of this project, please inform Maine DOT Region Office of their location as soon as possible in order they may be properly considered during the design and construction of the proposed project. Properly located facilities are a consideration for protection against damage from construction operations. Should you have any questions, concerns, or other areas of interest, we would appreciate your comments and input. You may contact me, Sean Davis, Project Manager, 941-4754.
Okay,
So this is an update on both projects in South Lubec Road.
thank you. All right. Now we can talk about the rebidding of the former tank truck. Bobby?
And we got Bobby Cook here for that. He's the Lubec Fire
Hi,
Chief.
Bobby.
Hi, Bobby.
I guess we put it out to bid before, and I guess there was only 2 bids. It didn't really seem like there was anything there.
There was no bids.
There was none, yeah, correct. Since then, I don't know what happened, whether people weren't noticing the bid or what, but there was 5 or 6 that were interested, and they said they had never seen it. So, at this point, I'd like just to put that back out to rebid, and as is, where is.
I have some questions for
I'd
you.
just like to get rid of it.
At one point, I understood that you had had a conversation with someone who does salvage, and they were gonna pay us $1,000.
Yeah, but time we had to get it there.
Okay,
So, time you pay somebody to unhook the air brakes,
okay.
all that, and then get it onto a trailer.
But they're just
And the batteries aren't any good in it, so you're gonna be looking at $450 for some batteries.
Okay.
Right.
So the alternative is to bid it out as is, where is? Okay. All
I
right.
make that a motion.
I'll second that motion.
Any discussion by the board? All in
Let's get it
favor?
off the lawn. Yo.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Bobby.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. Okay, Lubec big application
Yeah, this is a boating infrastructure grant.
as opposed to a little application.
Right. We've been working on a project at the former Lubec Marina, is to install a ADA approved gangway going down to a seasonal floating dock system. We've had a CDBG micro enterprise grant, was awarded through the town to a local business, and they're gonna take that money and use that as match for the project. The boating infrastructure grant is a grant administered through the Maine DOT, and what it is it's for transient recreational boaters. What's that?
We just voted, I think, on that.
Yes, yes. Basically, this will apply about $37,250 to the project. There are two tiers in this program, a tier 1 and a tier 2. Tier 1, the money is already allocated, the communities have already been picked. Tier 2 is everything goes into a competitive bid. So Lubec is a tier 1 community. This project was stated by the DOT to be a tier 1 project, so the money is allocated. All we gotta do is go through the process. This will, again, be added for the project. The next item is the Maine Coastal Community Grant Application. This is another grant that we're gonna use to secure funds. We can use the funds for engineering and purchasing material. The deadline was last Friday, and we've received word that they've got the grant from us, and they've got all the needed material. So this is up to $15,000. The last grant that we're gonna be going for is a small harbor improvement grant. That'll be a bulk of the funds for the construction phase of the project.
John, I'd like to say, we've all been working on this, but I know you really have been doing the desk work on it and all the paperwork, and I thank you. It took a long time, but we're really starting to make some headway on this, and it's gonna increase our public access to the water. Thank you.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we're seeing an increase in the user base, we're seeing an increase in passenger traffic. And Mike, you and I, we went over and there's a group in Campobello that wants to bring cruise ships to the area. So the possibility of seeing more traffic coming through, we're gonna need a place for them to load and
Please
unload.
take your conversations outside if you need to talk.
We're gonna need a safe facility for these people to load and unload, and I think it's gonna help our downtown area and bring more tourist dollars to the
It is.
community, so I think it is a worthwhile project.
Yep, certainly. Good.
Next item is to remind people that the Lubec Town Office is gonna be closed Monday, November 11th for Veterans Day,
And also the 28th and 29th.
28th and 29th for Thanksgiving holiday.
Thanksgiving.
Yes.
And there'll be a notice in the front lobby
Yes.
to reflect that, okay.
The last item that we have for the regular session is a license to install a pole on map 15 lot 6. This is a small section of grass in front of the building, the Zorn building down by the boat ramp, that's currently owned by the town of Lubec. There is a pump station there, and the power for that pump station is inside the building. So if you're gonna work on that, you have to go inside the building and disconnect the power going to the pump so you can go down and work on it.
John, can I just interrupt? The pump station is part of the infrastructure of the wastewater treatment
Yes.
system. The town's wastewater treatment system.
That's correct.
Trouble with the pump.
So what we've been working on is to take the power out of the inside of the building and install it on a pole.
Yep.
That small grass area in front of the building is owned by the state of Maine. The same department that owns the boat ramp and the property around it. And I've talked to the facilities director, George Powell, and he is recommending that we sign this letter and send that to him. And this is a standard, this is a release from the state to allow us to put a pole on state of Maine property.
Okay. Make a motion, we sign it.
Say loud.
I'll make a motion that we sign it.
Second that motion.
Any discussion?
Who decided that this was the best location for pool?
It's the only location in a small area.
I talked with Ricky
It
Bradley.
should never
I
have
talked
been
with
put in the building, but it
Bruce Crane.
was.
I mean, the further away from the pumping station, the more it's gonna cost. So this is an area, it's nearby. We talked with Dig Safe, they've come down and looked at the site. We've also talked with Steve Stewart, he's a planner for Bangor Hydro, and he's approved the location. So I mean, you know, we've talked with multiple places. Any further away from the pump station is gonna be more digging, more wiring. It's gonna make the project more expensive.
Way back when Ramsdell put the sewer system in, for some unknown reason, they decided to put that into the gray building, which was privately owned at that time. And it really should never have been in there in the first place and should not be in there now.
I mean, there was an
It needs to come
instance,
out.
where there was a malfunction in order to go in and replace the pump. We had to break into the building and then notify the property owner afterwards.
We broke in.
And that's not exactly the right thing to do, but you can't wait until, you know, the pump station's overflowing. So this would relieve that situation occurring in the future.
Any other discussion?
How much will it cost?
That's coming out of wastewater's budget.
Yeah,
isn't it?
it's coming out of the wastewater budget. Right now, we're dealing with some estimates. I got an estimate from Conrad Sealy, or Conrad
See what?
Sealy.
The man. Okay.
To wire the pole down to the box, he's estimating between 5 and 7.
Yeah.
I got an estimate from Bangor Hydro to drill and install a pole right around 1,600. It won't be cheap, but it is necessary infrastructure that we're gonna have to put into place.
Yep. Sounds.
I'll ask for a vote. All in favor? Any committee updates while this is going around?
Can I get your copy? We'll have 2 copies of the approval of the license.
Oops, this one.
Yeah. Sign 2 copies of it.
Oh, okay. Let me sign that one.
Yeah, doesn't matter.
Sarah, do you have any committee updates?
The county budget committee has approved for next year's budget, and it's an increase over last year's budget of 0.8%. And now, I believe the county commissioners will vote to approve at their next meeting. The Washington County Council of Governments annual meeting is next Wednesday, I believe. And then Tuesday is the Washington County Council of Governments meeting on
The climate assessment.
Climate assessment.
assessment in Pembroke,
Pembroke,
Yep.
4 to 6 p.m.
for anybody that would like to go.
I urge that we have the Public Works Department attend.
Have they been notified?
Yes, they have.
I agree, Mark. Should I sign that? I'd also like to make sure that the medical center, fire department, everybody else that was stated before has been notified. Tomorrow night is a CDBG town improvement meeting at 4:30, right here.
Yeah.
And I think that's all the committee updates. Now, Scudic International Sculpture
How could you
Symposium.
forget?
We had a preview of the movie, and we had probably 10 people show up. And I would like to show the film on our local access TV sometime, so I'll talk with Monkey about that.
Yeah, definitely.
And Mike was there, so he knows all about it, but I think it's great information for people.
Schoodic also, the papers are doing a sculpture, I believe, in Callis. And part of the article was that they did receive a major donation from corporate business.
They were,
From a corporate business?
Yeah, well, was it Dead River? Gave them a substantial amount. There was a company that gave them a fairly substantial amount to help them get going.
It was Dead
the
River.
Yeah.
their chamber also gave a $1,000 donation. But we're still raising funds and keep you updated on any fundraisers we have planned.
Anything else?
Not for committees,
Okay.
but I have other things.
Okay.
I just wanted to remind people that Friday, November 15th, there's a benefit dance, and there will be some ladies who are shaving their heads for
Amanda.
Levitt. So
Well,
if nothing else, it will be quite a sight to see, and come out and support Amanda. Then on Sunday, there's also a benefit for Joel